Taylor Hayes hasn't been on The Bold and the Beautiful in a while, so it's understandable if viewers might need a little refresher on the character's epic history on the soap. The beautiful psychiatrist was introduced to B&B back in June 1990 when Hunter Tylo joined the cast. She played the role until 2002 when the character was killed off. After a brief return as a ghost, Taylor reprised the role permanently in 2004. In a shocking return from the dead, the soap went out of their way to keep secret, making her last appearances in 2014, but she made another surprise return, though not from the dead this time, in April 2018 and continued stirring up drama for about a year before leaving the canvas again. In October 2021, it was announced that the role was being recast with Krista Allen. A renowned psychiatrist, Taylor counseled Ridge Forrester and Caroline as they dealt with her leukemia diagnosis. After Caroline's death, Ridge was drawn to Taylor, who was seeing Storm Logan. Shrink turned down Storm's proposal and began dating Ridge, eventually marrying him in 1992 despite Brooke's best attempts to split them up. A year later, while trapped in a cabin during an avalanche, Taylor slept with James Warwick so he wouldn't die a virgin. Taylor was then presumed dead in a plane crash and Ridge went on to remarry Brooke. If only Taylor and Brooke had learned to share, they wouldn't have had to fight over Ridge so often. John Pascal/JPI. In a bizarre twist, Taylor survived the crash but suffered from amnesia. She was rescued by Prince Omar Rashid and made his wife in Morocco. Taylor managed to escape and returned to California, where she posed as a British nurse caring for a temporarily blinded Ridge before finally revealing herself. But Ridge and Taylor's marriage soon fell apart and he returned to Brooke. So when she discovered she was pregnant, Taylor let Thorne Forrester claim paternity instead. But after Thomas' birth, Ridge learned the truth and they remarried. The following year, Taylor gave birth to their twins, Steffi and Phoebe. Tragically, in 2002, Taylor tried to save Eric from Sheila Carter only to be shot by the psycho. She survived emergency surgery but ultimately died in Ridge's arms. Ridge even dug up Taylor's grave to make sure. Erin Montgomery/JPStudios.com. Despite appearing to her loved ones as a ghost, Taylor showed up in the flesh at Bridget and Nick's wedding and revealed that she had been abducted by Prince Omar again and kept alive in a coma until she had fully recovered. Ridge found himself torn between the women in his life, but Stephanie Forrester faked a heart attack and begged him to choose Taylor over Brooke. However, after Taylor kissed Hector and confessed to her long-ago infidelity with James, Ridge dumped her. Taylor began drinking heavily and while driving to pick up Phoebe on the Pacific Coast Highway, accidentally struck and killed Thorne's wife, Darla. After an ill-fated relationship with Thorne, Taylor fell in love with Nick Maroney, and they conceived a child, Jack, through in vitro fertilization. Unfortunately, Taylor was crushed to learn that a mix-up at the lab caused Brooke's eggs to be used, meaning that the boy was biologically her rival's. Taylor even lost a child to Brooke. Erin Montgomery/JPStudios.com. After an affair with Rick, Taylor divorced Nick and then ended up marrying Whip Jones. She also bought 25% of Forrester Creations and signed those shares over to her daughter, Steffi. Whip dumped Taylor when he realized she was still in love with Ridge, and the shrink flitted between Ridge, Thorne, and briefly, Eric Forrester. At Brooke's birthday, Taylor revealed that her rival had cheated on Ridge with Bill Spencer, and then abruptly left town. In 2014, it was revealed that Taylor had reunited with Thorne and was living with him in Paris. After a brief return to Los Angeles, the couple returned to France where they ultimately broke up. The next time that Taylor returned to Los Angeles, she revealed that she had actually come back for a visit a little while earlier, on the night that Bill was shot. Distraught over how Bill had destroyed her daughter's life, Taylor took revenge by putting a bullet in his back. Although Steffi convinced Bill not to press charges against Taylor, the shrink was still overwhelmed with fear that her crime would be exposed. Although she was supposedly in therapy, Taylor continued to act emotionally, supporting Steffi's adoption of a second daughter and pushing her to steal Liam away from Hope. She even helped pay for the adoption of Phoebe, not realizing that the infant was really Hope and Liam's daughter. When she welcomed Thomas home from New York following Caroline's death, Taylor also began pushing him and Hope together, which just reignited her ongoing rivalry with Brooke. Stay tuned to see what brings Taylor back and what kind of drama she brings with her. Ad block test, why?